This is, without a doubt, the scariest and most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to me. One Saturday night, several months ago, I attended a birthday party at a friend's house. There were about 40 people in attendance, split between the basement and the main floor. I didn't go down to the basement even once, because the music down there was extremely loud, which I hate. And most of my friends were on the main floor anyway. My best friend had given me a ride to the party, and we stayed together the whole night. A few days later, I ran into a distant friend of mine at school, who'd also been in attendance. He took out his phone and started showing me some of the photos he'd taken that night. He got to one that showed him and a girl posing for the camera, in the basement, with me standing in the background, smiling and looking in the direction of the camera, but not quite at it. I obviously freaked out and told him I hadn't been in the basement. He told me he'd seen me there for several minutes. He said he had tried to say hi, but I seemed distant and distracted. I called my best friend, and she confirmed that I'd been with her the entire night. I was not drunk or drugged. I drank nothing all night but a water bottle that I brought with me. To this day, when I think about the picture, it scares the heck out of me. There must have been another me in the basement. If I told you what I saw last night, you wouldn't believe me. Like, I can't even wrap my head around it. So here it goes. I went to do laundry around 2 a.m. with my oldest son. After we put the laundry in, we went to a McDonald's drive-thru to get something to drink. The drive-thru was packed with about 5 or 6 cars ahead of us. I noticed none of the cars were moving forward, and it had been about 5 minutes already waiting. So I decided to go around the car in front of me to the next drive-thru lane. McDonald's has 2 lanes. As I'm pulling around them, I look into their car to see why they're not moving. And I kid you not, both people, driver and passenger, looked dead. Heads tilted all the way back, eyes shut, not moving, dead. I freaked out and tried to pull out of the drive-thru entirely, going around the other cars just to get out of there. And the next car I passed, all the passengers also looked dead. Heads tilted back, eyes shut. I panicked, thinking maybe they were all shot or someone killed them. So I hit the gas and got the hell out of there. My son called 911 and told them what had happened, and they sent an officer to check. A few minutes later, the cop called us back and said everything was fine at McDonald's. Mind you, my son saw it too. We both saw the car in front of us. The people looked dead. It was terrifying. It literally looked like one of those rapture movies, or the end of the world. Needless to say, I can't wrap my head around what we saw, or why. I'm still scared over it. Something weird is happening in our town, and only my family seems to notice. The first thing we started noticing were duplicates. We'd see someone somewhere, only for them to inexplicably end up somewhere else. For example, my mother and I saw and chatted with an old friend at the grocery store, and when we arrived home later, we saw on Facebook that this person was out of the country on vacation, and had been for a few days. They have no memory of speaking to us either. I've taken phone calls that were duplicates of calls I had already taken with the other person swearing that we hadn't spoken yet. The scariest thing, though, has been the deaths. There have been 4 deaths in our community of very well-known and influential people, and every one of them has died twice. We hear about their deaths and see all the RIP posts on Facebook. We see the community fundraisers put on to raise money for the funerals, and even see the cars at the church or funeral home, only for these same people to die a week or 2 later. And all the RIP posts and fundraisers happen again. Only our family seems to notice these things happening. My mother and siblings and my 2 kids. We don't know what's happening, and it's starting to scare us. One day I was walking to work, and all of a sudden had an urge to walk a different path than usual. I worked downtown in a big city. It was a strange spur-of-the-moment urge that changed my life forever. I turned into an alley I'd never seen before. As I remember it, I made it about 15 feet or so when an actual glitch happened. Everything in my mind scrambled. I felt like I didn't have a body anymore, just that I was a semi-conscious entity floating through some weird dimension. All of a sudden, in an array of different colors and shapes, a vision came to me. It was a bunch of strange-looking people that in my mind resembled businessmen in suits. They looked startled and panicked that I could see them. One of the people made a quick movement, and everything turned to black. When I regained consciousness, I was on a completely different street. It was the same street that I always used to walk to work. I felt sick and extremely disturbed and depressed. I've never done any hard drugs, never experienced any hallucinations. I've never had anything like this happen to me. The weird thing is, when the glitch was correcting itself and I could see those people watching me like a caged animal, I had the feeling that I was being controlled. It still bothers me very much to this day. When I was a kid in England, in primary school, around 1987-ish, a new kid joined the school on a temporary basis for a term. He had an American accent and was ginger. His name was Lee. Before he left us, he brought into school what today would look sort of like a tablet computer, but this was very thin with brown tanned glass. He had cartoons on it. He totally loved cartoons and movies. I swear this happened. I didn't dream it. It was amazing. There was a crowd of kids who saw it, and their reaction was interesting because they liked it and wanted one, comparing it to the Nintendo Game & Watch and calculators, but they sort of accepted it and didn't think it was magical, but it certainly was. I said to him it was like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy prop used in the TV series. He didn't know what I meant. He kept it away from the teachers and didn't bring it back in. I kept asking him questions about his calculator TV, and he just gave vague answers and said he didn't know. But when I asked where he bought it, he said his dad got it from the US. One other thing he said, he saw a movie which had every cartoon character ever. A few years later I realized he was talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which came out soon after. This was 30 years ago, and you can imagine how difficult in all this time it's been to describe this thing, as we haven't had ubiquitous tablets everywhere. I used to draw diagrams of it and show it to people. I went crazy when I saw the Tom Hanks movie Big, the scene where he pitches a handheld comic book video device. My parents just sort of acknowledged it, just humoring me. When Star Trek TNG came out and the pad was shown on screen, I went, "That's it! That's the thing!" Eventually, the tablet PC came out, and I remember thinking, finally, at last. And the video iPod was further confirmation. Today, it's obvious that it was a tablet computer, and my story sounds more convenient. I suppose I could track some of the other kids down on Facebook to prove this. I bet they would remember. Naturally, no one believes me. I was catching a sky train in one particular city, about 15 minutes from where I get off. While I was waiting, there was a woman with glazed eyes, asking people for money. She came up to me, stopped briefly, and asked, "Excuse me, could you spare some money? My brother's in the hospital and I'd like some money to buy him some flowers." That's rich, I thought. People are getting more and more obvious with their lies. I gave her $5 without even looking her in the face, convinced of her intentions. My train pulls up and I get on. I look through the glass at her walking around asking others for money as the train pulls away. The train arrives at the station 15 minutes later, and I walk down and out to the bus stop. There's only one bus in the direction I'm going, and just my luck, it's there waiting when I get off the train. So I hop on the bus and wait for the bus driver to finish reading his paper before the doors close and we embark down the highway. After about 5 to 10 minutes of traveling, The driver pulls over for a routine stop. The doors open, and to my complete astonishment, the woman from the SkyTrain walks into the bus, a dozen roses in hand. She looks me right in the eyes as she walks past to take her seat. How in the blue hell did she get there? I took the train before her. I watched her at the train stop from inside as we pulled away. I went over a river. I caught the first and only bus going this particular direction. And not only did she beat me there, she had time to go to the store and buy a dozen roses. Every once in a while, I have dreams about places or people I've never seen. Then about 6 to 7 months later, I'm in the place or with the people, and I have déjà vu. I also sing random songs, even when something else is playing on the radio, and the next song that plays is what I was singing. I've done this on mine, my best friend's, and my girlfriend's iPods on shuffle many times, and it freaks them out every time. One super weird thing, though, happened in about 2012. I was 19 and living at home with my parents and younger sister still. I came home from work from my job at a barbecue place, and my sister says to me, "Oh, I thought you said you were off today." I'm confused because I left at 5 a.m. before anyone was awake. And I ask her, "When did I say that?" She says to me, "Like 2 hours ago in your room." She thinks I'm screwing with her, so I tell her to smell me because you can smell the barbecue sauce and smoke on me. Then she gets really creeped out and tells me she had gone into my room earlier and seen me in bed with covers up to my neck and had a 15-minute conversation with me. That really creeped me out, and I never felt comfortable in that room ever again.